The Tinder app. Yes, the technology behind the Tinder app has several utility patents that protect the functional features of that invention. And I'm going to talk briefly in this video about how they were able to obtain a utility patent on that particular software application. Hi, I'm Derek Fahey. I am a registered patent attorney and a trademark attorney with a Plus IP firm. And this is going to be a brief video on the Tinder patent or the Tinder match groups patent on the Tinder technology, and some lessons that I learned by reading the patent application and the patent and the prosecution history and applying it in my practice. So again, I'm Derek Fahey. I'm a registered patent attorney. We follow a lot of software patent applications, and I'm a total nerd, and I like reading patent applications and patents because I learn kind of the cutting edge of where the examining attorneys are and where the law is, and it really actually is super cool, and I find it really interesting about how different technologies are able to get patented, and I apply that in my area of law quite often. So many times people come to me and ask me, well, is software patentable? And yes, software is definitely patentable. One of my favorite examples is the Tinder patent. And essentially, you may have seen it before. If you're not familiar with it, it's essentially an application, a software application on your phone, and you get to look at, you get a profile, basically some photos of potential match, whether it's a guy or girl, and you can swipe left or swipe right to indicate whether you actually like the person or want to get to know the person. And so what Tinder did, or what Match Group did, in order to get the patent, is they filed the patent on a process and a system for providing profile matching. And many times people will say, well, is our graphical user interfaces patentable? Yes, they are. We've actually done that at our office for difficult graphical user interfaces used in gaming. Also different graphical user interfaces that are unique, that can be used for different preventing, texting while driving apps. And what's interesting about it is, what I found really interesting about this software patent is how they overcame the 101 rejections and the 103 rejections. In the US, we have two statutes, 35 USC 101 and 35 USC 103, that are typically cited in almost every single software patent application. And the 101 issue is typically whether or not the idea is too abstract, okay? And the 103 issue, the 35 USC 103 issue, is whether or not it's considered obvious in light of prior art. Here's actually some images of the software applications app, and you can see here they have a profile here, and if you swipe one way with a gesture in the claims, which is the heart of the application, they call it a gesture. Swipe one way, nope, I'm not interested, and you swipe another way, I like the person. And if you are able to use that gesture, it could be a push, it could be anything like that, you're able to communicate with the person. And how a Match Group actually prosecuted and overcame these rejections is they said, listen, our invention is not too abstract. We're doing a very particular method of profile matching, and how we're doing it with these gestures, swiping one way and then swiping another way, is actually unique enough and doesn't cover all the different ways to profile match that we should be able to overcome a 101 rejection. So we actually use those kind of arguments many times in overcoming some rejections that we get in the software realm. Another thing that they talked about in the responses was they argued and they narrowed the claim specifically enough to basically eliminate communication between the different people by the swiping. So for example, in the claims, and I have the claims section here, which is the heart of the application, the applicant actually included where it said, determining to allow the first user to communicate with the second user in response to receiving a gesture, providing the indication of whether or not I want to communicate with the person, whether I like it or not. So that gesture, swipe right and swipe left, that was actually one of the ways that they overcome this too abstract, the abstract rejection and also the obvious rejection. And you may say, well, it's software, it's not unique, but think about how I got to experience that before I was married, and it was so unique. And people went crazy over this swipe right, swipe left, and it was that unique feature, the functional features of that kind of process, that was such a big hit. Okay, profile matching had been done before, but for lack of a better word, the swiping right, swiping left profile matching system made it cool and just like super sexy, right? And that is what I found so unique about this particular patent and why these particular patents were so strong. And interestingly enough, these patents have been litigated. Bumble and Tinder, the owner of Bumble and the owners of Tinder, which is the Match Group, actually had some lawsuits involved. They eventually settled out of court. But I just found this super interesting. And we use these arguments and these techniques to get around different rejections that we would have for our software applications. If you have any questions about software or software applications or software patent applications and how we can help you protect what your cool features that you're doing, please reach out to us. My name is Derek Fahey. You can find me on Instagram or on TikTok at Derek Fahey PA. You can find me online, www.plusfirm.com. This is my YouTube channel, so please like it if you can. Leave some comments, questions. I'm happy to answer them. Reach out to us anytime. Hope you enjoyed it. Keep inventing, and always try to protect your inventions if you can.